In this video, Matthew Brownell gave an interview on the popular radio show On Air. He talks about the nerve system, how mental health affects your body, and much more. So let's dive right into the interview.
As a lot of people know, a few years ago I had COVID and I had it really bad. And when I came out after 3 months in hospital, I could hardly walk. And there are a few things that got me back on track with my life. One of them was actually coming working here. After a while, that gave me something. My family, my friends. Another one was a guy called Matt Brownell, and he's a therapist that continues to work with me, but he literally got me walking with a bit of a spring in my step quite quickly. He's known as Magic Matt. And last week, during a therapy session, I interviewed him. Now, my voice might be a little bit off because I was face down as he was working on my back and my legs at this. So it's an interview that was recorded during a session. So have a listen.
So face down, Mike.
I'm with Matt Brownell, and I'm undergoing some muscular alignment therapy. And Matt is also known as Magic Matt. You want to talk about what kind of therapy you offer, Matt?
Well, let's first of all raise this bed up because it's going to be a little bit noisy. So now that you're at the right height, you can start looking at what's going on in your body. And the first thing we check is when we do the muscle alignment technique, which is actually part of a system that I've developed called the Body Software System. Just relax these feet for me. And then I first of all bring these together. We're just going to check the leg length on your legs, and then I'm just detecting which side is shorter or which side of your pelvis is raised, telling me that you're out of line or not. So the ethos of this whole treatment technique is to basically straighten the posture, allowing all of the organs, the joints and the systems to work more efficiently.
So when you say alignment, what does that mean to a layperson?
Well, as a basic analogy, I normally would say to someone, when you're out of sync, you would probably, as an analogy, you would say it's similar to a car with one wheel missing. So you'd be driving it at an angle. And of course, that would, if it's transferred into the body, it causes havoc on certain joints and even systems in your body. So being out of line, in my opinion and what I see, will cause certain issues with the organs that are compromised through extra pressure on one side of the body compared to the other side of the body.
So it will cause this imbalance.
Exactly that. And usually when systems and joints go out of line, inflammation. So inflammation is actually the problem in the body. And when you get inflammation, especially around a joint, usually it's around the joint, so it can go into the soft tissues, of course, it can go anywhere. There's no natural for inflammation. And when you get that inflammation, the nervous system reacts to it. And the way it reacts, it tells the tissues to tighten up around the area, causing the area to become tightened. And then that also adds to the compromising of the systems. In other words, if you've tension even around an organ, so let's say the bladder is compressed because the pelvis is out of line and the tension's over the bladder therefore won't hold as much liquid. And then you will wake up earlier in the evening and go to the toilet, for example.
Yeah.
But there's numerous examples of that all over the body. So obviously the obvious one is if you went over your ankle at football, it would swell up and you couldn't move it. So the nervous system is telling the body, don't move because we need to repair you.
Actually provide your services to sports people, don't you?
Oh yeah, over the years I've probably treated players from maybe every Premiership club in the country. They've come to see me at one point or another, different levels of sport, pro boxers, golfers, and usually with conditions and ailments that other therapies may not be able to tackle. Use the pun.
Your therapies quite a history, hasn't it? Eastern.
So I'm fully qualified in several treatment modalities. I'm a fully qualified cranial sacral therapist, Bowen practitioner, reflexologist, sports massage therapist, remedial masseur, and I've been in practice for over 30 years. So there's an amalgamation of several technique modalities really. And I used to teach martial arts, so I have quite a deep understanding of the movement of Qi, which is the principle that runs through treatments such as acupuncture. So when I'm working on a patient, I'm bringing in all of the different modalities as well as all of the experience, and this is why I've developed a technique I call a muscle alignment technique, because in my opinion it's a modality now that works great and gets very good results covering most ailments.
So this is physical, but does your therapy have an impact on mental and emotional health as well?
So one of the ways that the treatment affects the body physically is it works on the autonomic nervous system. And what I've seen in my experience over the years is when people have mental, emotional issues, the nervous system is erratic. And what do I mean by that? Well, the autonomic nervous system is split into two. One prepares you for action and one calms you down. And most people in today's society, they're in the state of being in the action mode. It's almost like the beginning of a race. This is why the blood pressures are high or the anxiety is high in people, because the body just doesn't know how to relax. It doesn't switch that, what they call the parasympathetic state. And within this treatment method, I make that system work more efficiently, and then therefore physically they relax, but then with that comes the mental, emotional relaxation. So often people say to me, wow, my mind went quiet, and I say it's almost like puts you into a meditative, relaxed state, and this is where true healing can occur as well.
We can definitely speak to that meditative state. It gets a bit difficult to actually interview because to say that I get so relaxed when I come here.
Yes, so the reason why I often see again that people go into the relaxed state relatively quickly compared to how they are each day of their lives, and the reason why is because, here's a key point with the treatment that I do, I find the most, what I would say, congested or tense part of the body. And with that, I always say, most people are as uptight as the most tense part of the body. So when that section releases, they relax. They have to, because the nervous system is taking that information on. So even for a sports person in front of goal, if they're a little bit over tense, the choices are wrong, for example, and they could really blast at the ball instead of going in. Sometimes you'll know when a striker's more relaxed because the body moves in a way that I can recognize is a relaxed state and it's effortless, same as a golfer. But then sometimes if they're over worried, it becomes more difficult, and it's the same for health. There's more tension in certain areas, it can affect the position of the body.
Really? You've written a book, haven't you?
Yeah, so again, I'm basically the book Seeing is Healing, and I'm talking about, as it says, seeing where the posture is out of sync. I'm working to heal those sections and work with the balancing of the posture to create alignment, which, again, if you go back to the car analogy, just makes you more efficient. If a joint moves in its efficient range and movement, it will work better. It stands to reason.
I have to say that I've read the book, and I have viewed a few books on this program, and I found it an absolutely fascinating and insightful introduction to your art, build the history. And how can people get hold of that book?
Well, they can go to my website, matthewbrownell.co.uk. They can purchase the ebook there. I do have paperback versions available. But the ebook is online. It's only $8.95, and yeah, it's a good, interesting read, as many people have told me.
To say that here I am undergoing some therapy, and it's really beneficial mentally, emotionally, and physically to me. I say that every time I leave your studio, that I feel 10 times better. So, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, again, if they were to go to my website, there is actually a booking system there as well, so they can go online and they can make an appointment online. They'll see when the availability is, and yeah, they can just do it that way. And remembering the first time you came to see me, Mike, you had some issues going on at the time, and I think you kind of crawled into this room and then you danced out.
That's exactly right, and I would say that when I first came to see Matt, I was just out of rehabilitation after COVID, and could hardly walk. And after about 20 minutes, got off the bed and walked the door. And I virtually skipped there and back, and I drove home. Now, Matt is based in Sale, but hopefully easily accessible for a lot of people about Oldham as well. Matt?
No problem.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, well, that was Matt Brownell talking to me last week.
Yeah, I found that very interesting, that.
Yeah.
It reminds me, obviously a very skilled medic.